One of the great things about the automotive hobby is there are certain cars that they go through the whole spectrum of people that appreciate cars. Everybody, no matter if you're into Ferraris or rat rods, whatever, you're going to like certain cars. A 1942 Town and Country Chrysler definitely falls into that category. Aaron Weiss, this is an amazing car.
Well, thank you very much. It's just gone through about 2 years of restoration, and we found it back east from a gentleman who restores Woodies. Very much an Eastern car. The Town and Countries were bought by a lot of hotels and resorts to pick up people at the train station and bring them back to the hotel. And this one is a 9-passenger with the luggage rack on the roof, and is all ready to pick up the next load of tourists and bring them to the resort. There was a 998 made, and the Chrysler Town and Country Registry feels that there's somewhere around 18 left. And then those numbers mirror for the 1941 model and the 1942 model.
When people think of Woodies, they think of Beach Boys and station wagons and surfboards. This is a little different rig here. This is more of the Cunningham Happy Days family kind of car, the epitome of warm and fuzzy. Do you get kind of reactions from people that, oh, I didn't know they made ones like this, I thought they were all station wagons? When you pull into the Safeway parking lot, if you do in this car, wherever you pull in, what kind of reaction do you get from people?
A crowd. We get a crowd wherever we go with it because it's so unique. People really didn't realize that there were these kind of station wagons manufactured pre-war, and this was the last. This 1942 is literally the last car made by Chrysler after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. All domestic passenger car manufacturing was stopped in February of 1942, so this was it. And it is a family car. I think some of the Ford Woodies and stuff, yeah, it looks, you need a surfboard on the rack and you know, and all the stickers of wherever you've been. But this is more of what I would call a Hamptons car. This would have been something that somebody on the East Coast of the United States or maybe up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan would have owned. And it was a more elegant car, and that's why they called it Town and Country. The country, it was like an estate car for your ranch or your farm, and yet you could drive it in town, so Town and Country, and that's how they came up with the name.
This type of car, I would think it was a big deal back then, what you just described, and then it probably maybe fell out of favor for a little while, wasn't that sought after, and then all of a sudden people were like, wow, we got to get one of those, they're really rare. Is that how you see it, or is there a different...
Well, there was a war in between all this. So in 1942 they stopped, in 1946 they started production again. In fact, I have a 46 Chrysler Town and Country convertible, and part of that was the wood was great because there wasn't a lot of metal available, and people remembered that trend and came back. But I think it's like fashion or anything else. After a while, it becomes passé, and within a couple of years, by 1948-9, the Woody was really just wood trim on the doors, and the full wood had gone away, and then it kind of went away for a while, and then I think somewhere in the 50s you started seeing plastic wood on the cars, and it kind of came back. So I think it's like a fashion statement, like bell bottoms or paisley or something. It comes and goes.
How's this go down the road? Plenty of power, everything you need?
Well, it's a real interesting car. It's like the transmission is one step behind the full automatic transmission. It has fluid drive. So it's a very interesting transmission from that standpoint. Once you get going, it's smooth, and it's a heavy car, and it tracks the road really well, and it's fun to drive.
So you accelerate, you go off the pedal back on, and it shifts, right?
Yeah, you start out in first gear, you go to second, and then you'll accelerate, and it automatically goes into what it would be called like an overdrive. And then when you slow down, you hit the brake, and it'll come back down in the second. But when you do come to a stop, you got to go manually back in the first and start the process over again. But that's how it's just a really wonderful car, and it has power steering, and it's a great car.
We're here at the LA Concours, and this is real upmarket. This is some real high buck cars here, and your car is appreciated here. But as I alluded to in the opening, you could pull into Bob's Big Boy and everybody would go nuts, or you could go to the Rat Rod show and everybody would go nuts. This opens every door, I would think.
Oh, it does. We had it up at the College of Art Design here in Pasadena last year, and that's where the most avant-garde cars of their time are shown each year, and this was here, and it was really quite a success. It draws a crowd wherever you go because I think it's very nostalgic, and people look to go back in their youth. They're searching for their lost youth or a glimpse of what they may have experienced as a teenager or a child, and they remember, and these cars are something that have pleasurable memories, and they want to relive those moments.
Well, my youth was lost long ago, so I'm going to walk around the concourse here and see if I can find it again. So thank you, Aaron.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.